Here we are, almost 1 year later, with the flagship of flagships of 2020, the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. So how does it fare 1 year later? Is it the last of the Note series, or will it be capable of surviving another year until the Note 22? Let's make like Machine Gun Kelly and talk about it. At launch, and even now, the big head-turner of the Note 20 Ultra was the price. The device launched at $1,300 USD, and now a year later, the Note 20 Ultra can be had from Samsung brand new, anywhere from $620 to $950, depending on trade-in and other deals you might be able to get. That's quite the spread, but at the high end, the fact that an Android phone can still cost almost $1,000 a year later is almost unprecedented, and really speaks to just how much Samsung thought they could get away with by charging $1,300 in the first place. Examining on the low end, if you can get it new or slightly used for $620, that might not be a bad deal. However, for an extra $200 or so, you can pick up something like a OnePlus 9 Pro, which I was able to find for as low as $840 new. And with that, you'll get things like a slightly better Snapdragon processor, as well as a screen capable of WQHD plus 120Hz. Honestly, the biggest slap in the face about the Note 20 Ultra, at launch and now, is the fact that it couldn't do both. At least without some tweaking, which may or may not still work. But there might still be one key reason to still pit the Note 20 Ultra over even other newer Samsung devices, the S Pen. As part of the possibly slow, painful death of the Note line, Samsung has allowed their latest flagships to have S Pen support. However, even now, I would say no other Samsung phone has a good implementation of the S Pen, and that's simply because it's built into and part of the Note 20 Ultra. While yes, you can use the S Pen with say an S21 Ultra or the new Z Fold 3, that requires a separate purchase, and on top of that, the purchase of a lopsided case for either device, just to conveniently carry it. No other Samsung device, or any other device for that matter, looking at Apple's Pencil system, has as good of implementation of the S Pen as the Note 20 Ultra. Not the rest of the Note line before it, but I say the Note 20 Ultra specifically because Samsung, starting with the Note 20, really worked to improve the experience of the S Pen, doing things like significantly reducing the latency of the pen even if the screen is running at 60 Hz. On top of that, and this is the big one with me, the Note series still is the only Samsung device that is the all-in-one experience with the S Pen, for the simple fact that the Note carries the S Pen in its body. That's important to me, as while I'm not a power user of the S Pen, I've always appreciated the times I've had its functionality. When I've had to use it, however, this doesn't happen often enough to warrant me buying the S Pen as a separate device, let alone a case for it. So the Note 20 Ultra has functionality that I appreciate and don't have to go out of my way for. So moving past the S Pen, let's talk about the more general aspects of the phone, starting with the design. The Note 20 Ultra is still totally unique with its shape and design because of the boxier, sharper corners. No other recent generation phone in the space really boasts this sort of design. I, personally, really like it, and even prefer this more geometric design. It, to me, makes more sense when trying to sell a slab of glass than the typical rounded corners found on every other phone out there. While talking about the unique design, let's talk about the color. Mine is in this still absolutely beautiful bronze color, and I have yet to see a phone pull off such a unique color outside of maybe some of the gradient designs only available in China. The color still turns heads, and still to me at least, isn't boring. Perhaps the last aspect of note is the camera bump, or rather shelf as others refer to it as. It was dummy thick in 2020 and is still dummy thick in 2021. It stands out particularly now that we've seen other phone makers and even Samsung themselves integrate their rear cameras a bit more smoothly into the bodies of their devices, like on the S21 series. Other than that, not much else about this phone stands out too much. Save for the S Pen dock, the I/O is similarly laid out to any other given phone on the market right now, and Samsung's palm rejection has gotten good enough that I no longer really have unintended inputs when reaching from the really thin sides. Next up is the screen, and yep, it's still great. Plenty bright, more than enough for consuming HDR content. The aforementioned squared corners give a look and feel to the screen that is totally unique. But perhaps my favorite part, the 19.3:9 aspect ratio, which makes movie consumption all the better. While occasionally the curved edges of the screen exhibit a glare under certain lighting conditions, I think I've gotten so used to it over the years, not only with this phone but with other Samsung phones I've had, that it just really doesn't bother me all that much anymore. But, as alluded to earlier, the worst part about the screen is the inability to display WQHD+ and 120Hz at the same time. You can do FHD+ 120Hz, which I would recommend for most users as the benefits of the smoother motion are more appreciable, but the disappointment still stands. The lack of high refresh, high resolution was disappointing at launch and still is now, especially considering Samsung launched the S21 Ultra like 4 months later that was capable of doing both. Perhaps the last pain point is the battery, and was the excuse Samsung used to justify the lack of high refresh rate at WQHD+. It might be weird saying that a 4500 mAh battery is lackluster, but hear me out. The chips powering this device, either the Exynos 990 or the Snapdragon 865 5G Plus, were both fairly power hungry, especially when it came to 5G implementation. So even brand new at launch, the Note 20 Ultra's battery life wasn't stellar, and a year into it, it's only gotten worse. I've still yet to have it die on me after a day of moderate to heavy use, but I've gotten too close for comfort many times. While there are some mitigations you can do, like turning off 5G, I hate gimping the core functionality of the phone just due to unoptimized hardware and software. And that's pretty much where the core complaints end, or rather, where the core complaints stand. All of the complaints at launch about the device still remain true, which is a good thing, that a year later, there are really no more complaints about the device. In fact, that's actually a really good thing. There hasn't been a markable slowdown or lag due to an underpowered processor, and even with the upcoming Android 12 update, I predict they'll remain true for at least the next year or so as well. The Note 20 Ultra is still more than capable of even the heaviest of tasks and multitasks, and the camera still competes with the best of them being released today. It's still unclear whether or not there will be a Note 22, or if the Note 20 will be the last of its line. While rumors upon rumors seem to suggest that the Note series is dead, quite recently the Samsung kitty has given hope for the Note's continuation. So at this point, only time will tell. If there is a Note 22 though, I only hope that Samsung tries to make a successor to the Note 9 as opposed to a successor to the Note 10 like the Note 20 is. Perhaps most importantly, should you buy a Note 20 Ultra in 2021, I would say only if you want the best S Pen experience possible. While there are plenty of other redeeming qualities about the device, they're not necessarily unique to the Note 20 Ultra anymore. And newer, in some ways better devices can be had for the same, if not cheaper prices than the Note 20 Ultra. So again, to reiterate, the S Pen is still the crowning factor of the Note 20 Ultra. And if you're really interested in using it and can integrate it into your workflow, then you can't go wrong with the Note 20 Ultra. But with all that being said, unless Samsung really goes back to basics with the S22 series, I'll be keeping the Note 20 Ultra around for another year. So with that, that's going to do it. Leave a comment down below about how you think the Note 20 Ultra fares in 2021 onward, or what are some of the devices you think might take its place. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, hitting that notification bell. It helps us out a lot, and you'll get notified whenever we put something new out. We try to shoot for at least 2 videos per week. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, follow us at tech_4_thought, and check us out on Instagram at tech_4_thought. And if gaming is more your thing, check out our affiliate, Culture of Gaming, at cultureofgaming.com.